So, good morning, everyone. In United States, this is a live voiceover of the second day of the Shibir in UK, the retreat, special retreat with Gnani Deepakbhai. Starting with the words of Gnani Purush Dadashri on non-violence. And we see the Mahatmas as we see the Mahatmas gathered in a hall, some 700 to 800 of them. And we'll be reading with the book on non-violence called Ahimsa, Ahimsa, ahimsa.pdf on dadashri.org with the heading, "The fault is of the entity that endorses or that agrees or puts the signature." We'll be right with you while I get a little bit of my morning tea. It's 5 o'clock here in the United States. And highest namaskars to all of you from Shuddha. This is a live informal voiceover. And everybody is still waiting for Puja Deepakbhai. Good morning here. It's 5 o'clock in the morning in eastern United States, 10 o'clock in London, and this shivir is happening outside London in England. People from different parts of the country as well as Europe and America have come there. Now once Puja Deepakbhai, the Gnani, starts speaking, you will not hear the sound from the original relay source. This is coming from in the live. All you'll hear is Shuddha's voice in English on this channel because I have to have less distraction and I'm listening to this original in through the headphones. There, as we see the Gnani come in now. As we have the darshan of our Gnani, this is the custom, he walks through every row and engages the eyes of every Mahatma, even for the briefest part of seconds, so that everybody feels connected. He is the current Gnani of Akram Vignan, who lifts the spiritual seeker into the domain of the S capital self, the experience of the S capital self, the Paramatma, the absolute self within you, which begins in the Gnan Vidhi of Gnani Purush Dadashri that he has been conducting since March of 2006. If you missed the live voiceover of this session from England, you can watch them at Vishuddhatma, like Shuddhatma, and just put a VI in front of it and Google it, and you will come to the YouTube site where they are properly arranged for you to see. So again, now the morning session of April 18, 2014, as the Gnani enters the hall in the English retreat UK, in the UK retreat of 2004, which is a 6-session, 3-day event over the Easter weekend. As we all have the darshan of the Mahatmas, Mahatma is the one who has awakened to the awareness and the experience and the conviction of the Absolute Self within him only through the Gnan Vidhi of Dadashri. Seems to be a preponderance of female Mahatmas here. From England. The chanting that's going on is Dada Bhagwan Na Asim Jai Jaikar Ho, which means infinite glory, boundless to the boundless glory to the infinite eternal one, the one within. Dada Bhagwan is the eternal one within all, boundless, infinite glory. As this morning he has decided to do a full darshan, so he's going around practically each and every Mahatma who is there. And this is the easiest and the direct way to connect with the Eternal One within, as you chant the name of not an external God, but the awakened God, the real self within you only. For this group of human beings, it happens through the science called Akram Vignan, means there is the direct entry into the awareness and the experience of the self because of the perfect establishment of the conviction that I am the pure one, the blissful one, absolutely free from this mind, speech, and body, which is an effect from past life, the causes of which were laid in the past life. Part of the Gnanvidhi process, Gnan, Gnan is the knowledge of the self as well as the knowledge of the doer, which keeps one perfectly established in the state of the S capital self. And part of the Gnanvidhi is the 5 agnas of the Gnani Purush Dadashri, which are conveyed as they are by the current Gnani to the participants and the recipients of the Gnanvidhi. And the 5th component of the 5 agnas is to be present live wherever the Gnani is giving more satsang, more talks that enhance the company of the Eternal One. And this is one of them. The clapping happens, so the body is involved in it. The singing happens, so the mind is involved in it. The words are involved. And the words, the nature of the words are such that it makes one connect to the Eternal One within only, within the self as well as others around, all that lives. Dada Bhagwan. Dada Bhagwan is not an entity, it's not a physical entity, it is the eternal element within all. It is the eternal knower, seer element within all life. Gnani Deepakbhai lives in Simandar city, Gujarat, India, but mostly travels all over the world for this kind of gatherings to impart further knowledge and to clarify what one has received in the Gnanvidhi. So on both sides, apparently, the women are sitting in the front, followed by men in the back. And some of the translators way back, you see the German translators right now behind the bars, Uwe and Nada of Germany. They are transmitting this live on Ustream in German. As we see the Gnani bow in front of Lord Simandar, the current living Tirthankar, and we saw the image of Gnani Purush Dadashri and Atmagnani Pujaniruma as a garland on behalf of all of us go to this entire science of Akram Vignan, and the symbolic representations of which are the image of Lord Shiva to the left, Lord Krishna, Lord Simandar in the middle, and Lord Krishna to the right, as there are some streaming going on. Now the real within all of these lords is what is the real that has awakened within these Mahatmas, as the Gnani offer some flowers to the original Akram Vignani, Puja Dadashri. As the Gnani bows to the Gnanis that have raised him in the spiritual world, Dadashri gave him Gnan, Niruma gave him the knowledge of worldly interactions and also how to really become very good with human worldly interaction, ideal worldly interaction, as he was with them since age 17. And more flowers to the magnificent full image of Gnani Purush Dadashri, the Akram Vignani, and bowing to him, turning to all the Mahatmas, rising up, facing all of them, and now the final raising of the hands above the head, signifying that he is about to now continue to sit down. Again, a replay for some reason. This is a streaming, so they are re-streaming it. Now you will not hear the original sound. It's streaming. Buffering is the word. Um, well, we seem to be stuck on an image, so let me see what's happening. Let's refresh the screen to see if this will help us. And yes, now I have the sound. As he's all set on the stage. And we have the Dada Bhagwan Nasim Jai Jaikar Ho singing going on. Jai Sachidanand, the awareness of the eternal is bliss. I bow to the Absolute Self who resides within you with a deep sense of oneness and deep devotion. Having streaming, it's slow. Jai Sachidanand. I may have to decrease the size of the screen. The sound is getting cut off. Let us read further. The fault is of the entity that endorses is the heading, but I'm having difficulty here. Alright, so this will be okay, so the heading is the fault is of the entity that endorses. Questioner says, during the rainy season, when there is an abundance of mosquitoes and flies, the municipal authorities tell us to spray our houses with insecticide. Is that not a sin? But if we do not use the insecticide, there will be an outbreak of disease. Dadashri, what is the difference between this and what Hitler did with his bombs? This is Hitler on a very small scale. So we're having streaming problems. I'm not hearing any sound. Let me refresh again. No sound again. Anyway, we will continue reading because I can't hear him say anything yet. Questioner, but we are talking about the whole town here. It is filthy in the rainy season, and there are flies and swarms of mosquitoes everywhere. Okay, some little bit of voice coming up in the reading. Everywhere, the local authorities are forced to use insecticide. Dadashri says, what is the what difference does it make to you what the municipal authorities do? You should simply have the intent not to kill. Your only intent should be, it would be better if things were not so. Questioner, then does the responsibility lie with those who carry out the work in the municipal authorities? No, it does not concern them. Then who is responsible? The workers merely are carrying out their orders, says Dadashri, but the head officers who gave the orders would be liable. But for whose benefit do the officers give the orders? Dadashri, they are simply doing their duty. That is not for us. But we are the ones who file complaints about the nuisance of the mosquitoes. Dadashri says, the one who do not wish to hurt do not complain. They are not responsible. Those who complain are responsible. The liability therefore falls on those who approve and endorse it. So is it dependent upon each individual's inner intent? Deepakbhai says somebody threw bombs and somebody threw these major insecticides that kill this. The most important thing is, the short and sweet thing is that this is for one's own thing. The one who wants liberation should not enter into any kind of intentions. That's all. Of killing them. But the question is how you yourself should live and how yourself should get out of this world and this ocean on this of violence, that is the critical thing. This is not for the world, this is for the one who is on the path of liberation. This is not the one for what to tell others to do, that you should do this or not, you should not do this. The world of violence and the world of non-violence will continue around you. The question is, what do you really want? And what is your intent? Dadashri says, yes, your intent will determine the degree of the liability you incur. The questioner, but if a mouse or a bird dies in a water tank, yeah, they are behind us in reading. But they are reading about that. But it is the local authorities are forced to use the insecticides. We have already read all this. It is again, I'm sorry, but we are having streaming problems. But we can continue reading because you have the PDF with you. I will try to add Pujya Deepakbhai's comments in this. It is most important is your bhav, your deepest intent. It should be non-violent. That you don't want anyone to be hurt. If you have ahimsa in your bhav, in your deepest intent, then you are free. So then the question says, then does the responsibility lie with those who carry out the work in the municipal authorities? Dadashri says, no, it does not concern them. Then who is responsible? The workers only are merely carrying out the orders, but the head officers who give the orders would be liable. But then for whose benefit do the officers give the orders? Dadashri, they are simply doing their duty. This is not for us. But we are the ones who filed a complaint about the nuisance of the mosquitoes. Dadashri says, the one who do not wish to hurt does not complain. They are not responsible. Those who complain are responsible. The liability therefore falls on the ones who put their signature on the complaint form. So it is dependent on the individual person's intent. Yes, your inner intent will determine the degree of the liability you incur. You should have it in your mind that this should not be so in your intent. You see, you can nurture non-violence in the intent. You can nurture non-violence in the intent everywhere. So, will those people so again we are ahead of them. We are ahead of them. Who are the officers doing this for? They are simply doing their duty. This is not for us. But we are the ones who filed a complaint about the nuisance of the mosquitoes, Dada. Dadashri says, the one who do not wish to hurt, do not complain. Who do not wish to hurt, do not complain. They are not responsible. Those who complain are responsible. The liability therefore falls on those who endorse and approve the spraying of the insecticides. Only one act is going on. 10 people are saying, 9 might be saying, kill them, and 1 may be saying, oh, I wish they didn't have to do it. So the activity, the kriya is happening externally, but 9 may be endorsing it, putting the signature in it, and 1 may be saying, no, it should not happen. So our vision is that there is no killer and no savior. This is only change in the body forms only, that's all. That is the elemental vision. But if we understand, that's the elemental vision, but if the awakened one should understand that we should not have any evidence of ours in the intention, in the process of the killing or the saving. That is all. We should not have. We should certainly, if we cannot save them, then we should. If we cannot help them, we should not have any intention of hurting them. And beyond, and we ourselves, we the people in the Gnan have to go even beyond this Gnan, beyond this Gnan, which is the you see, in the jeweler shop, this is happening. You see, the jeweler shop, in the goldsmith shop, all kinds of transformations are happening. All right, I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. And so we just have to, the change is happening of the gold in different forms, but there is, in the goldsmith's small shop, there is a change in the chain from the gold to the chain of the ring to the chain of the wristwatch, etc. So it is all a change in the element, the original element never gets spoiled. It is the phases that continues to change. There is no killer, there is no death, and there is no birth. It is just merely a change in the phases of the non-self complex only, and that is why you do not need to interference. Now the question says, so yes, your inner intent will determine the degree of liability you incur. Questioner, if a mouse, yes, Dadashri says, if you are in the intent of the S capital self, Atma Bhav, then you will not get entangled into the machinery, the very complex machinery of this interacting non-self complex. So you will not come into the connection of it, and therefore you will be. So to instigate, to make somebody do, and to instigate to do by remote control, you will not be there into it. See. If you become abhorrent towards your son, and then you say, I should beat him up or I should discipline him, then you will become the father again, because your intentions have now entered into it, and therefore you have interfered with it in that which is happening, and the ultimate goal is to become vitarag, absolutely free from any feelings of attachment or aversion. Questioner, if a mouse or a bird dies in a water tank, the tank will need to be cleansed out and disinfected. Will the use of the disinfectants not kill all the living organisms in the tank? Who will be accountable for this sin? Is it the one who does the disinfecting or the one who makes others do it? Dadashri. You see? So these are the interferers. Dadashri says both the doer and the one who makes other do are responsible. Our intent must remain that of non-violence. We should not have the opinion to kill. Questioner. This is we are ahead. We just read this. We have so there are three forms of doers. There is the direct doer, there is the one who makes others do, and the third one is the one who uses the remote control so that it happens at a distant level, in distant lands, like to instigate violence. The doer of violence, again we are having a problem with the so let me just kind of go to the smaller screen, maybe that might help us. No sound. Shall I refresh it and just see what happens? Okay. And it is initializing, but there is no sound. And so we have just, when there is no sound going on, nothing going on, we could continue reading. Both the direct doer and the one who makes others do are responsible, and the third one is the one who makes others do has two components. The direct make somebody do, and then remote make somebody do by remote means through intellect. So the create wars in distant lands by your intelligence activities at home, and so these are all. Our intent must remain that of non-violence. We should not have an opinion to kill. We initiating live stream, please wait. That is what it says. So we wait. In the meantime, we continue to read. Questioner, the inner intent is to prevent disease. If the water in the tank remains contaminated, alright, there was an error playing this video, retry. Or I will just refresh, probably might be better. We are reading from the PDF called Ahimsa, Ahimsa .pdf at dadashri.org, dadashri.org/ahimsa.pdf, and we are reading on the chapter of Hitlerism, the violence of Hitler, is compared by the Gnani as the mass violence that happens on small living beings too, from the elemental vision and from the view of the one who is going to be completely enlightened, and from the view of the fully enlightened one, from the view of Lord Mahavir, and this is now being given to us by Gnani Purush Dadashri. And we are not having any sound, so we continue. The inner intent is to prevent disease. If the water in the tank, Dada, remains contaminated, the people who drink it will fall ill. And let's see, let me see if I click here live, or see if that might help. Oh, it just has gone. No, we don't want that, do we? No, we don't want that. It's going to the beginning. So we go back to, oh, we don't want that. We have just gone backwards. Okay, in the restreaming process now it is taking us back to the beginning of the satsang, and I'm sorry about that. Let me see if there's any way I can catch them live. When I hit the refresh button, it took me to the beginning of the satsang this morning. Well, it does not allow us, so it is putting this. There's a whole bunch of viewers, about 1200 viewers, about 300 viewers on live stream, and therefore what is happening is it is redirecting those in the beginning of the set, so not quite live. So we have missed about half an hour in this of this. So maybe I might be able to fast forward. Does not let me fast forward. Again, I'm trying to fast forward. No, it won't let me fast forward. If I restream it, if I restart it, it puts us all in the, no. So here we are. We've got some time, and we've already read up to this. So while we are, I tell you, while we catch up to the original place, we will just continue reading, because I have no way of catching on to the live now. Let me try one more thing. And see if that will make us go live. No, I am sorry folks, but this is how it works with the streaming part. Apparently we have been sent back to the new batch, so there is a live stream, and now for the extra load they make people go to the original, so it plays kind of as a sub live, not live, but but at least this one should not have any streaming problems. So we stick with this one now until the end. And you will have more time with Shuddha on this one. Here we are again in the beginning. We've already seen this, all right, and now it's initiating again a live stream. This is such a popular event that practically the whole of the United States is watching on this one. And so what is happening is they're all streaming and they're trying to connect, and therefore we are having some buffering difficulties from this. So anyway, while this is trying to come on, the question really was, if a mouse or a bird dies in a water tank, the tank will need to be cleaned out. No, Dada? Then will the use of the disinfectants not kill the living organisms in the tank? And who is liable for this sin? And is it the one who does the disinfecting or the one who makes others do it? Dadashri says both the direct doer and the one who makes others do are responsible. Our intent must remain that of non-violence. We should not have the opinion to kill. So now we seem to be live. That's very good. Let's go. So, okay, we seem to be live now. Yes, we are at the actual. It says the only place where karma is not bound is when you have the firm conviction, the absolute conviction that in whatever is happening through this medium of this mind, speech, body complex, through uva or nada, I am not doing anything at all. And yes, at the relative level, tell uva or nada to do that which helps others. When you have the perfect awareness, whether the awareness that I'm not doing anything, whether the world likes it or not, I'm not doing anything. When you have the perfect, through five agnas is the only place when karma is not bound. Otherwise, and so whatever discharge you have brought, that will unfold and go away. This is the ultimate key of Akram Vignan. Otherwise, so now there is the next one. Violence is in educational intentions. This is about the farmers. He says we farmers have to really do a lot of digging, and we create a lot of problems somewhere in special. So and we kill hundreds and thousands of little plants, and as we pull off the old plants. And then Dadashri says, you should have, why did I get to do this? Yes, you have to take out the roots of the weeds, but then you should just have the inner intention that why did I have to do this? You should have the inner intention that this is the farmer, this is two more pages we missed. You see, the tea we drink, they pull out the tea leaves and then they pack the tea leaves in a packet, says Deepakbhai. In early morning, we dip that tea in water and then we say, I drank the tea. Now it was so good, I enjoyed that cup of tea. Yes. But drink it if you need to. Again, he's breaking up, but he's trying to make a. But you see, but the thing, you are drinking the tea, but they have to do so much cutting off the tea leaves in the tea gardens, do they not? Yeah, the Gnani Deepakbhai trying to imply very subtle violence towards the plant kingdom there, and the farmer has to do so much to preserve those green teas only. So therefore this violence is happening, and therefore if you enter the domain of moksha, then you will not be entering in, you will be free from this world of violence. Or the other thing is, even as you are living in this world, you can enter into the state of the non-doer, and therefore you are neither the doer of the sin nor are you the doer of the merit karma. So you are free from pap and punya. Pap is sin and punya is merit karma. There is not much violence in this green killing of the green plants, etc. You have to have much more awareness of the violence that happens to other human beings, husband, wife, brother, sister, daughters, friends, colleagues, co-workers, etc. The files you see that unfold in front of you. That is where you have to be tremendously aware that you do not want to hurt anyone and human beings around you. That is where you have to be extremely careful. You must be very careful not to hurt them. That is the most important thing that you really need to be aware of. You need to have a lot of awareness there. Now, questioner. But this sin will happen, will it not? No, the other should say whatever degree. Yes, it says yes, but this is whatever. Yes, the amount of sins is. Many people have beautiful gardens around the home. Somewhere where they are reading, you should have the. Okay, you should have. Why did I get? Why did I have to have this? There is nothing wrong with it. We are not instrumental in causing the violence. There is nothing wrong in being the instrument, says. The whole world is instrumental in the forms. Everything just continues to happen in this way. You do not have to concern yourself with this single sensory organisms because you are not inflicting any pain on them. Some people unnecessarily become overly concerned with such forms of violence. Nevertheless, you should not deliberately pick leaves from trees unnecessarily. That's the tea part. You should indulge. You should not indulge yourself in meaningless things. You should not break a twig. So the Gnani says, do not hurt your fellow human beings. This is the most important thing. Is there sin in farming? Is there not a difference between? Is there? Yes. There is sin everywhere. There is sin in farming and also in the. Yes. But you should. There are so many. When people sell the. Yes. You should just. And so. You should just have the. You should be repenting. This is all you have to do. Special pratikraman for farmers is what. This is true. You do not have to worry about it. You do not have to worry that the sin is happening from within. You must repent and inquire how you ended up with doing this violence in this life. Maintain the inner intent of non-violence and be resolute in that. You would not be able to repent unless you have done this understanding. On the contrary, you would be happily throw away the cuttings without thinking. Do you understand? If you do your work the way I tell you, your liability becomes mine. There is no. You see, if you are so now, if you do not, if you are so, that means, if in other words, the Dadashri says, compared to the farmers, the businessmen do greater sin, but even more than the businessmen, it is the people who sit at home that do the greater sin. The sins are committed through mind and not the body. Dadashri says, you have to understand this fact. It is not necessary for others to understand it. Dadashri says, let them believe what they will. Whatever they believe is correct for them, but for your purpose, you have to understand what I am saying. Questioner. What should we do when we have to spray what we have to spray insecticide on the cotton crop? There is violence in it. Then Deepakbhai says the highest amount of violence happens in religious matters. My religion, your religion, their religion, they are the killers. So violence through the doership, I am Gisala, I am Nada, is the most critical thing. The intention. What should we do when we have to spray insecticide on the cotton crop? There is violence in it, is there not? Dadashri says any work that is unavoidable must be done with a contingent upon doing pratikraman. Now just note this sentence. whatever you have to do that you do not want to do, then it should be done with pratikraman. That is all. Just after it has happened, do pratikraman, you see. So then for the next life, you will become not liable. You do not know how to conduct yourself in this worldly life, but once I show you the way, you will cease to bind new sin, karma or sin. Nava, new pap, new sin. If you are a farmer, you are bound to sin, bound to bind sin, because you destroy countless lives when you plow the land and harvest the crops. For this reason, I am showing you how this sin can be reduced. And I am giving you the medicine to wash away your sin. Uh, and if you use it, you will incur lesser liability and you will be able to enjoy the worldly pleasures. This liability, by the way, is for those who are not Mahatmas and those who are not employing the five agnas of the Gnanvidi, by the way. All the farmers incur a liability from the violence involved in the type of the work they do. And if you now, virtue and sin do not affect the self realized. This is a very important heading. Is it not a sin to use insecticides in the farming? The manufacturing of insecticides is a sin. Yes, it is, because it is made with the intention of killing the life. One buys and uses the insecticide with the intention of killing. So that is all sin. But the motive behind is to produce better crops. I know what makes the crops grow, what supports the farmers and their farming. I know and understand the real foundation behind all things that are happening in the world. People do not have this knowledge of the real doer, and that is why they assume the doership of their ex. They believe that the crops grow because of their efforts and actions. And their kriyas. The farmers believe that the crops grow better because they use the pesticides. To give support to one's action with this belief of the doership is a very grave sin. Once this wrong belief of the doership is taken away, there is no attachment to the action and therefore there is no resulting consequence. So then what happens to the independent individual effort? What about the individual effort? Dadashri says the true definition of Purusharth, the highest inner progress of the self, is to see and know the events that are happening, nothing else. Furthermore, the thoughts that arise in your mind are your files. And the Dadashri's word for anyone that uses has a karmic account. These two you must simply see and not interfere with. Then, should one farm or not? There is nothing wrong in farming. What about the liability of sin in farming? After self realization, sin does not touch you. You are pure soul. You are no longer Chandubhai. As long as you believe that you are Chandubhai, you will bind sin. Do you understand that? No. Then how can sin bind you? There is no more charging of karma. Whatever farming you have to do is your file. You have to settle with it with equanimity. And if you have this I am pure soul within you continuously as I have given you, then no amount of insecticide will affect you. This is because you are pure soul. Okay, look at the amazing responsibility Dada has taken, because inside you should say that you are Rainazile and Uva is separate, and therefore you will not incur a single sin liability. Whatever you do, it will not touch you. This is very, very critical. And just finish your remaining discharging worldly interaction. Are you really Uve? Are you Chandubhai? And so if you have this I am pure soul, Ishmindrayana Sile, within you continuously, as I have given you, then no amount of insecticide use will affect you. This is because you are pure soul, and Chandubhai is the one spraying the insecticide. If you feel sympathy or remorse, then you become Chandubhai. If you feel sympathy or remorse, then you have just become over. You have to know that Uve is feeling sorry for this, not you. Questioner, does the farmer incur any binding of karma in making, selling, buying, or using the insecticides? Dadashri, no. When the manufacturers of insecticides ask me what will happen to them, I tell them that nothing will happen to them as long as they follow my instructions. Even though they manufacture insecticides, they are Mahatmas, and if they remain in my agnas and my instructions, nothing will happen to them. And we have just lost the screen again, so I'm going to continue to restructure this. streaming. So does that mean, Dada, that as long as a person says, I am pure soul, he can continue to do violence? Dadashri says it is not a question of doing violence. There is no violence in there is no violence in Ich bin reine Seele, I am pure soul. There is no doership or anything to be done in the state of the pure soul. Questioner, so from the worldly view of one's general worldly interaction or behavior, is it not considered a wrongful deed? And Dadashri replies, and again we have no video. Mm, and so we and so they are reading. From the worldly perspective, it is sin from the point of view of the world. However, it only becomes a sin when you become Chandulal. After this Gnani, you are no longer Chandubhai, you have become the pure soul and you have the constant awareness of it. This is called the conviction and the awareness. Now, we're still not having sound here. This is called Shukla Dhyan, pure meditation as the self, as capital. And to have the awareness of I am Chandubai is called Ahankari Dhyan, or the ego, the meditation through the ego, Ahankari Dhyan, or meditation through the ego, I am over. So many people have taken this Gnan, but never once do they misuse it. On the contrary, they ask me whether they should stop or change their occupation. I tell them that if it happens naturally, then they may do so, otherwise, they should continue with it. Now, we're not having the video, my friends. I keep re-streaming. Occupations involving violence is the next heading. Question: my friend does not understand why it is wrong to manufacture pesticides when one acquires such an occupation as a result of one's past life karma. How can the butcher be blamed for selling meat when he is only doing what his karma dictates? He is paying the dues of his karmic account, is he not? Dadashri says yes, and your friend would continue to presume this if he did not question it. But because of his merit karma, he is now questioning this, and this is the tremendous merit karma, punyai, unfolding. If one does not question such things, the violence will continue, causing much harm to inner living beings in addition to the external harm. This results in the decline in spiritual awareness. He becomes blunt and insensitive. The external violence is insignificant because in reality it does not reduce the number of insects killed. It is the subtle life forms within oneself that get killed as a result, and this brings out insensitivity in a person. He becomes less aware of these very subtle spiritual matters. Now, questioner says, whenever I meet my old friends, I tell them that they ought to leave their occupation, and I give them examples of many successful people whose lives have become ruined as a result of their occupations, but they do not heed my advice. Many have even quit after having become ruined. Dadashri, it is because of tremendous sin that one comes to do sin karma effect, that one comes to do the business involving so much violence. It would be best if you were to become free of such trades. There are so many other ways to make a living. A man once told me that all of his businesses, his grocery businesses, were most lucrative. When I asked him what he did in his grain, that became infested with bugs and diseased bugs, he told me that he would do everything possible to get rid of the insects, and he would do everything to get rid of the insects, and and then he told me that I'm having dual ones. Let me see what's that going on. That's where I want to go, not on this one. I want to close this screen. It's going in the wrong screen. I just saw something at the end, and I want the UK Shibir. And I should click on the UK Shibir live now. And I am sorry, folks, but this is going on. The wrong button has been pushed here. Unwasted. Anyway, so we're reading. A man once told me that all of his businesses, his grocery business was the most lucrative. And I asked him what he did. He says he will try to get rid of the insects as much as possible, but he could not eliminate them completely. I assured him that there was nothing wrong in what he was doing, but in selling the grains, he was charging for the weight of the insects that remained in the grain, so he was selling lives for profit. Now, the jewelry business is the best, is the next heading. People with a lot of merit karma in their past life get to do the professions with which there is the least amount of violence. The business of selling diamonds and precious gems would be one such profession. There is no scope of violence here, but nowadays, even in this profession, people have learned to do business dishonestly. Um, I am sorry, but we are having difficulty with this live webcast, my friends. And we're just generally reading, but we've got to have the live shivir, otherwise we are spinning our wheels just reading, not knowing what's going on at the other end. This is the UK shivir. It's trying to initialize the live stream, but we are having difficulty there. Okay, so it's just going on around. Let me try another address here and see if this helps. And we are back to the same one. We're having significant difficulty here with this particular no, the jewelry business is the best, but even that has people have become dishonest. Nothing prevents one from doing this business honestly if he wants to do, if he wants to. In this profession, and it says it's asking me to wait, no living being are killed. I have the sound now, but so regardless of violence. If somebody steals something, why should I confront the one who steals my money? Yes, you have to confront him. Violence through opposition. It is all violence. This is now we are at the violence ceases through opposition. That's where we are in the sound only. Because Gnani says it is no. Is it right to give importance to subtle one? No. When one remains neutral towards such violence, somebody, why one should always oppose any forms of violence. By not opposing anything, if you are causing condoning it. If you are not doing one, if you are not doing one, you are doing to the other. Therefore, so you should not become angry towards the one who is whatever is yeah, just do whatever is correct. uh, in the world interaction without kashais. Yes, violence ceases through opposition. That's where they are reading. Is it considered subtle violence to cheat a person, to torment him, to steal away from him? It is all violence. In fact, it is greater violence than visible violence, and it is the consequences are also greater. To cause someone mental distress, hurt, cheat, betray, or steal from him is Raudra Dhyan, and the consequence of which will be a life in hell. Is it right to give more importance to subtle violence as opposed to the gross overt violence, which uh, such as cruelty to other animals, their slaughter and violence, and one remains neutral towards such violence? Is this approach appropriate? Dadashri says, no, that is not right. One should always oppose any form of violence. One should uh, their slaughter, and by not opposing it you are condoning it. If you are not doing one, you are doing the other. Therefore whatever, whoever it is, be it an ordinary person or a gnani, he must be opposed to it, or else it will be the same as encouraging it. Can we become instrumental in stopping violence against humans, Dada, animals or other living entities when their suffering has become as a result of their own karma? Dadashri says, regardless of the consequences of their karma, if you do not try to stop the violence, it is tantamount to encouraging it. So try to stop it. If you see a wounded person, you should help him. Do whatever you can to help him. Even though he is suffering because of his past karma, you should still maintain your inner intent of violence, of non-violence. If on the other hand you do not stop to help him, you will bind karma because violent intent will accumulate within you. That would not liberate you. You have to liberate yourself. Questionary. Is it imperative for those interested in making spiritual progress to make an effort towards stopping violence? If so, how can that be achieved? Dadashri says, if one is desirous of spiritual progress but makes no effort to stop violence, then it is the same as encouraging violence. All spiritual aspirations must be coupled with the efforts to stop violence. And we are ahead in the reading, so let us see what's happening here. Dadashri says, if one is desirous of intent, if one is desirous of, okay, now we have the screen. If it says this, they should know, then it is the same as, it is absolutely necessary to prevent all such violence, says Dadashri. You have to make every effort to do this, if necessary. Now we're in, but Dada, ultimately all these accounts and consequences are of past karma, are they not? Yes, they are. But you can only say so after the effect. After the fact, if you dismiss them as accounts beforehand, then things are likely to be ruined. If those who thrive as the so-called ascetics, bhavas, were to come to your village to abduct the children, you must try to stop them. You would be grieved if your child was kidnapped. By the same token, you should feel deep sorrow for the slaughtering of animals and oppose it. How will you accomplish the task otherwise? You cannot remain apathetic and do nothing. How you can regard it as a consequence of past accounts, but even the Lord was opposed to such violence. Therefore, you should collectively show your opposition towards it and unite against it. In doing so, you are not really opposing violence, but you are expressing your non-violent intent. Also, even the Lord was opposed to it, and therefore you too should oppose it. You should not condone any kind of violence. It is the intention behind it. It is a non-violent intent that is more important. You are not really opposing violence, you are merely expressing your non-violent intent. Deepakbhai is asking, should we continue or should we take a break? And we are now, in the next heading is a safe heaven for cows established by Lord Krishna. Now please sit. There are a few announcements now. Now, a few announcements given. I'll turn you loud to the live sound now. These are all the announcements of the Shibir. Usually they show some videos. So, good. At least finally we seem to be catching up. This is Sirish Bhai. He is announcing the invitation for the Guru Purnima in St. Louis. We are inviting everybody from all over the world. So from July 7th through July 13th. I want to give you some clarification. There are 3 hotels within walking distance in the Guru Purnima venue. So I am providing you all that information. By the way, this you will get from everybody is invited. So this is just Sirish Bhai there, and dadabhagwan.org website will give you all the details about this Guru Purnima facilities and accommodations. Even if you have to stay 5 minutes away from the hotel, it's not very far, it is within walking distance. And there will be transportations also for you. Please come. All the United States Mahatmas are cordially and very heartily inviting you for this Guru Purnima of Dadashri.
This afternoon at 2:30.
At 2:30 this afternoon, there is youth activity.
For children with parents.
Children with parents.
It's activity for children with parents. 2:30 p.m. scavenger hunt. Everyone to assemble in reception, and you will be met by Josh. Josh is the coordinator છે. એ તમને મળશે અને 2:30 વાગે એ છોકરાઓ માટે એક્ટિવિટી છે. બીજું આજે બપોરે 2 વાગે જીએનસી કોઓર્ડિનેટર્સની મીટિંગ છે. જીએનસી કોઓર્ડિનેટર્સે પ્રિન્સેસ બારમાં મળવાનું છે 2 વાગે. અને youth માટે આજે કોડ બાઇક્સ છે 4 to 2 145 youth માટે કોડ બાઇક્સની એક્ટિવિટી રાખી છે.
So some few announcements. There's a little break. There will be some pads. P-A-D. Pad is a spiritual song. Will be sung by some Mahatmas.
Dividole pragatavi, dividole pragatavi, dadani hayati ma.
This one is called Dividole Praktavi. In the presence of Dada, get your lamp lit within.
ઝળહળ પછી વાટ અંધકાયમી જ્યોતિ ઝળહળ પછી વાટ અંધકાયમી દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી દાદાની હયાતીમાં દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી दिवडोले प्रगटावी दादानी हयातीमा दिवडोले प्रगटावी मूर्ति छवि पाछड़ माथा फोड़ बीनते मूर्ति छवि पाछड़ माथा फोड़ बीते प्रत्यक्ष वीण कदी मुक्ति नहीं बीते प्रत्यक्ष वीण कदी मुक्ति नहीं बोते ज्ञानी दृष्टि संगना संगनी जाय चेती ज्ञानी दृष्टि संगना संगनी जाय चेती चेतवनारो खुद खुदा खुदाई मस्ती दिवडोले प्रगटावी દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દાદાની હયાતીમાં દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી. અધિષ્ઠાન જગતનો પ્રતિષ્ઠિત આત્મા જ, અધિષ્ઠાન જગતનો પ્રતિષ્ઠિત આત્મા જ, શુદ્ધાત્મા સ્વયં તો માત્ર જ્ઞાત્ર દ્રષ્ટા જ, શુદ્ધાત્મા સ્વયં તો માત્ર જ્ઞાત દ્રષ્ટા, ચંચળ પરમાણુ ક્રિયા બાદ બાકી, ચંચળ પરમાણુ ક્રિયા બાદ બાકી, અચંચળ અસંગ અક્રિય શેષ નિશેષ, દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દાદાની હયાતીમાં દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દાદાની હયાતીમાં દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી. મુક્તિદાન મહાદાન સમજો જો પ્રજ્ઞાપતિ, મુક્તિદાન મહાદાન સમજો જો પ્રજ્ઞાપતિ, અહો હો એ દાદા પુરુષ મૂર્તા મૂર્ત તીર્થપતિ, અહો હો એ દાદા પુરુષ મૂર્તા મૂર્ત તીર્થપતિ, ભાવ દ્રવ્યનું નિકાલી ભાવ એક કલ્યાણી, ભાવ દ્રવ્યનું નિકાલી ભાવ એક કલ્યાણી, જગત કલ્યાણ ગોત્ર જિનેશ્વર મલ્લી, દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દાદાની હયાતીમાં દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દાદાની હયાતીમાં દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, દાદાની હયાતીમાં દીવડોલે પ્રગટાવી, જ્યોતિ ઝળહળ પછી વાટ અંધકાયમી. જય સચિદાનંદ. જય સચિદાનંદ. આનંદ અખંડ પામીને, આનંદ અખંડ પામી, કરો હો પ્રભુ તારી ભજના, કરો હો પ્રભુ તારી ભજના, પ્રેમ ચાખ્યો તારો થોડો અહીં, પ્રેમ ચાખ્યો તારો થોડો અહીં, ભજો હું પૂરો પામવા, હું પૂરો પામવા, આનંદ અખંડ પામીને, આનંદ અખંડ પામીને.
So we just lost sound here. So we lost our Ustream, so let's go again.
Prana Pratishta Anand Akhand Pamine Anand Akhand Pamine Karo ho Prabhu Tari Bhajana Karo ho Prabhu Tari Bhajan देशनानी तारी वातो जसूनी देशनामी तारी वातो जसूनी देवी देवो अवतार देवो अवतार શા માટે અમે વંચિત રહીએ શા માટે અમે વંચિત રહી આવીશું અનુભવવા આવીશું અનુભવવા આનંદ
Just streaming, I suppose.
पामीने आनंद अखंड पामीने करू हो प्रभु तारी भजना करू हो प्रभु तारी भजन दादा दर्शन स्वामी सिमंदर दादा दर्शन स्वामी सिमंदर प्रत्यक्ष हाजर जीवा प्रत्यक्ष हाजर वा दर्शन करता जागे प्रेम ज दर्शन करता जागे प्रेम प्रत्यक्ष हर्ष के वा प्रत्यक्ष हर्ष के वा आनंद अखंड पामीने आनंद अखंड पामीने करो हो प्रभु तारी भजना करो हो प्रभु तारी भजना जय सच्चिदानंद.
Okay, so now we are in the post-break session on April the 18th, 2014 UK Shibir, and we've been reading about non-violence and the subtle aspects of non-violence with reference to the awakened self and his role in a world of continuous violence that is happening. And now there will be the question and answer sessions with Gnani Deepakbhai. This will be the second Q&A session with Atmagnani Puja Deepakbhai, who will answer questions. This is yesterday we had the first session on violence. Most of the questions related to the invasion of the mosquitoes and the bedbugs. And now, for those who are new to this, we are being reminded this is a live voiceover relay. The actual one that you see on your screen is the one that is being broadcast. Okay, here we have the Gnani, they're adjusting his microphone, so let me get on. Now you will not hear any live sound, but he's announcing the names now of the questioners. So the first question, Jai Sachidanand Deepakbhai. Where are you speaking from, please? Let me know. Many time while reading questions in the Dadavani, a lot of questions arise. These are all questions of the intellect. Should the questions be asked? Yes, you can ask them if you want to. But then having sent your question, then you should not have this question, why did my question